Have you ever downloaded a movie in seconds on your phone and thought, wow, 5G is amazing? Yeah, most people stop right there. They think 5G is just 4G on steroids. Faster downloads, quicker streaming, maybe your Netflix loads without that annoying buffering wheel. But here's what nobody tells you about 5G. It's not actually about your phone getting faster internet. That's just the flashy part they sell you on. The real revolution? It's happening in places you're not even looking. And once you understand what 5G actually does, you'll realize we're not just upgrading our phones, we're rewiring how the entire physical world works. In the next 15 minutes, you're gonna understand why 5G isn't a phone upgrade at all. It's the invisible infrastructure that's about to connect billions of devices you don't even think about. And that changes everything. So let's talk about what's really happening here, because everyone's focused on the wrong thing. Think about your morning routine for a second. You wake up, grab your phone, maybe check Instagram while your coffee brews. Your phone connects to Wi-Fi. Your smart speaker plays music. Your thermostat adjusts the temperature. Pretty normal, right? Here's what you don't see. All those devices, they're talking to the internet through your Wi-Fi router. That router connects to a cable in your wall. That cable runs to a box outside, and that box connects to infrastructure laid down decades ago for completely different purposes. It's like using a horse trail to drive a Tesla. Sure, it works, but you're forcing modern technology through old pathways that were never designed for this. And here's where it gets interesting. Right now, your phone is the only device in your house that can truly go anywhere and stay connected. Everything else, stuck to Wi-Fi, tethered to your home network, limited by range and reliability. But picture this scenario. You're driving to work. Your car needs to know what every other car around you is doing in real time. Not in a second, not in half a second, in milliseconds. Because at 60 miles per hour, a second of delay means you've traveled 88 feet blind. Your current 4G connection, it has about 50 milliseconds of latency. That's the delay between sending information and getting a response. Doesn't sound like much, right? Wrong. 50 milliseconds is an eternity when machines need to coordinate. It's the difference between two self-driving cars smoothly merging and a catastrophic collision. It's why your Zoom calls have that awkward lag where everyone talks over each other. It's why remote surgery isn't really possible yet, even though we have the cameras and robots to do it. And this matters because we're trying to build a world where everything is connected and responsive. Not just your phone, everything. Your car, your fridge, traffic lights, factory robots, power grids, medical devices, billions of things that need to communicate instantly and reliably. But our current networks can't handle it. It's not just about speed, it's about capacity, latency, and reliability. And that's exactly what 5G was actually designed to solve. See, when most people talk about 5G, they focus on gigabit download speeds. Download a movie in 10 seconds instead of 10 minutes. Cool, impressive, completely missing the point. The real magic of 5G happens in 3 areas that have nothing to do with downloading movies faster. There's this thing I call the latency revolution. Remember that 50 millisecond delay we talked about? 5G drops it to 1 millisecond. 1. That's 50 times faster response time. Think of it like this. Imagine you're playing catch with someone. With 4G, you throw the ball and they react half a second later. With 5G, they react the instant the ball leaves your hand. That's not just faster, it's a completely different level of coordination. This matters because machines don't think like humans. They don't predict or guess. They react to data. And when that data is delayed by 50 milliseconds, the machine is operating on old information. It's like driving while only looking in your rearview mirror. But with 1 millisecond latency, machines can coordinate in real time. Actually real time. A robot on a factory floor can work alongside a human safely because it knows exactly where that human is right now, not where they were 50 milliseconds ago. A surgeon in New York can control a robot in Tokyo and feel like they're actually touching the patient's tissue because the feedback is instant. This isn't faster internet. This is the difference between remote control and telepresence, between automation and true robotics, between connected devices and synchronized systems. Here's what makes this even more surprising. The second transformation isn't about speed at all. It's about capacity. Right now, your local cell tower can handle a few thousand devices. Sounds like a lot, right? Until you realize that in a modern city block, there might be tens of thousands of devices trying to connect. Phones, tablets, laptops, watches, cars, security cameras, parking meters, traffic sensors. It's like trying to have a conversation at a concert. Everyone's shouting, nobody can hear anyone clearly, and the whole system starts breaking down. That's why your phone barely works at a crowded stadium or music festival. Your brain does this because there's only so much radio spectrum available. Think of it like lanes on a highway. 4G gives us a certain number of lanes, and when too many cars try to use them, traffic jams happen. 5G doesn't just add more lanes. It fundamentally redesigns how devices share the road. It can handle up to 1 million devices per square kilometer. 1 million. That's not an upgrade. That's a complete reimagining of what a network can do. And here's why that matters in ways you haven't considered. We're about to enter an era where everything has a sensor and a connection. Not just your phone and laptop. Everything. Your clothing will have sensors monitoring your health. Every streetlight will have cameras and environmental sensors. Every product in a store will have smart tags. Every parcel being shipped will have real-time tracking. Every piece of infrastructure will constantly report its condition. This isn't science fiction. It's already being deployed in cities worldwide. But it only works if the network can handle millions of simultaneous connections without collapsing. And that's exactly what 5G was built for. Now, this next pattern is particularly sneaky because nobody talks about it. It's what I call the reliability paradox. You might think, well, my 4G is pretty reliable, it works most of the time, and you're right. For checking Instagram or streaming Spotify, 4G is fine. Occasional dropped connections or buffering. Annoying, but not catastrophic. But what if your life depended on that connection never dropping? What if a surgeon was operating on you remotely? What if your self-driving car was negotiating an intersection? What if emergency responders were coordinating during a crisis? Suddenly, pretty reliable isn't good enough. You need absolutely reliable. And here's what's wild. 5G can guarantee connections with what's called ultra-reliable low-latency communication. It's engineered to maintain connections even in challenging conditions. Think about it this way. Your Wi-Fi at home drops sometimes. No big deal. You reconnect and move on. But imagine if your pacemaker lost connection to the monitoring system. Or if a power grid controller couldn't communicate with the generators during a storm. These aren't hypothetical scenarios. They're the actual use cases driving 5G development. Because once we start connecting critical infrastructure and life-saving medical devices, reliability becomes mandatory, not optional. Back when we were just connecting people's phones to the internet, we could tolerate imperfection. But in today's world, we're connecting systems that can't afford to fail. And that's exactly why 5G was designed with reliability as a core feature, not an afterthought. But here's where it gets really interesting. Let me blow your mind for a second. What's actually happening is we're not just building a faster network, we're building the nervous system for a world where physical objects become smart and responsive. This isn't about technology getting better. It's about the physical world fundamentally changing how it operates. For all of human history, objects were static. A chair was a chair, a road was a road, a building was a building. Sure, we made them better over time, stronger materials, better designs, but they didn't communicate. They didn't adapt. They didn't learn. 5G changes that equation completely. When you can connect millions of sensors and devices with instant, reliable communication, physical objects become dynamic and responsive. A road knows when it's developing cracks and schedules its own maintenance. A building adjusts its heating and cooling based on exactly which rooms people are using. A bridge monitors its structural integrity in real time and warns engineers before problems become dangerous. This is why comparing 5G to 4G is like comparing electricity to candles. Yeah, both provide light. But electricity didn't just make brighter candles. It fundamentally transformed what was possible. It enabled refrigeration, computers, electric vehicles, modern medicine. And once you see it this way, you realize the download speeds are just the marketing hook. The real revolution is making the physical world as connected and responsive as the digital world has become. Let me tell you about two companies that illustrate exactly what I'm talking about. There's this logistics company called Old Way Shipping. They've been moving packages for decades. They're good at it. They use 4G to track their trucks, update delivery windows, communicate with drivers. All the modern stuff you'd expect. But here's what Old Way doesn't realize. Their trucks are basically blind between cell towers. Every few miles, they get a location update. They know roughly where packages are. Their drivers communicate when network coverage is good. It works well enough that customers are mostly satisfied. When a driver encounters unexpected traffic, they radio dispatch. Dispatch updates the route, the driver adjusts. Takes maybe 5 minutes to coordinate, no big deal, right? Except during those 5 minutes, the truck might have missed a critical delivery window, or taken a route that's now congested because 100 other trucks made the same decision, or passed right by a warehouse that desperately needed exactly what's on that truck for a different customer. Old Way is doing everything they're supposed to do. They're using technology, they're efficient, their metrics look good, but they're operating on delayed information, making decisions based on what was true 5 minutes ago, not what's true right now. Now compare that to SmartFleet Logistics. SmartFleet uses 5G connectivity on every truck, every package, every loading dock. Their system knows exactly where every vehicle is in real time. Not every few minutes, every second. Every package has sensors reporting its exact location and condition. Temperature, humidity, whether it's been jostled too hard. But here's what makes SmartFleet different. They're not just tracking better, they're coordinating. When a truck encounters traffic, the entire fleet instantly reorganizes. Another truck that's nearby and has space automatically reroutes to cover the missed deliveries. The warehouse adjusts its loading schedule. Customer notifications update in real time. A factory 50 miles away needs a critical part immediately. SmartFleet's system identifies which truck is closest, checks if it has space, calculates if rerouting would delay other deliveries by more than the premium the factory would pay, and makes the decision in seconds. Not minutes, not hours, seconds. And here's what happened. SmartFleet doesn't just deliver faster, they deliver 30% more packages with the same number of trucks. They have 80% fewer missed delivery windows. Their customers can track packages with accuracy measured in feet, not miles. Notice how this isn't about having better trucks or better drivers. It's about having information flow so fast and reliably that the entire system can coordinate like a single organism instead of thousands of independent parts trying to work together. Here's what most people don't realize. The difference between Old Way and SmartFleet isn't that SmartFleet works harder or has better training. It's that SmartFleet operates in a fundamentally different way because they have fundamentally different infrastructure. So what's really going on here? It's not actually about phones downloading movies faster at all. It's about closing the gap between digital intelligence and physical action. Right now, we have incredibly smart software. AI that can recognize faces, predict weather, optimize routes, diagnose diseases. But there's this massive gap between what the software knows and what the physical world can do about it. Your phone's GPS knows you're about to hit traffic, but the traffic lights can't adjust to help you avoid it. Your smart thermostat knows the temperature you like, but it can't communicate with your power company to use electricity during cheaper, greener times. Your doctor has access to your health data, but there's no way to monitor your heart in real time unless you're physically in a hospital. The people who succeed in the 5G era don't have better technology. They understand that connectivity isn't about devices, it's about coordination. It's about removing the delays and gaps that keep smart systems from acting on what they know. And once you see it this way, everything changes. 5G isn't a phone upgrade. It's the infrastructure that finally lets digital intelligence control physical reality in real time. These patterns aren't just about telecommunications. They're predictable transformations that happen whenever infrastructure makes new coordination possible. The interstate highway system didn't just make driving faster, it enabled suburbs, national retail chains, and completely new business models. Electricity didn't just make brighter light, it enabled refrigeration, which enabled modern food systems, which enabled cities to grow beyond the size their local agriculture could support. But now that you understand what 5G actually enables, you can start seeing where the real changes will happen, because they won't be where the marketing departments focus your attention. So here's what we've uncovered. There's the latency revolution, where 1 millisecond response times enable real-time coordination between machines, plus the capacity transformation, where networks can handle 1 million devices per square kilometer instead of a few thousand. This all connects to the reliability paradox, where guaranteed connections become possible because the architecture was designed for critical systems, not just consumer entertainment. Remember Smart Fleet? That's not a logistics company, that's a preview of how every industry transforms when real-time coordination becomes possible. Manufacturing, healthcare, energy, transportation, agriculture. Every single one operates on information flows. And when those flows accelerate from seconds to milliseconds, entirely new capabilities emerge. The question isn't whether 5G makes your Netflix buffer less. The question is whether you'll recognize the transformation when it shows up in ways that actually matter. Because now you know 5G isn't about your phone. It's about making the physical world as responsive and intelligent as the digital world already is. You can't unknow that. So next time you see a 5G ad talking about download speeds, ask yourself, what are they not showing me? What's actually being connected that nobody's talking about? Because once you see that 5G is infrastructure, not a feature, everything looks different. The roads you drive on, the buildings you work in, the medical devices keeping people alive, they're all about to get smarter, faster, and more coordinated than ever before. And that revolution, it's already happening. You just weren't looking in the right places.